welcome back to my channel. My name is Natalia Iliana, Nati, as they call me here in Cali, in Colombia, where I am currently visiting my mom. This video is mostly about the challenges of having a parent who is aging while being an only child. So I turned 40 this year, and this is something that I discuss on my channel, is topics around turning 40 and things that come about in your life more so at this age. Of course, people can have aging parents at all different kinds of ages, but this happens to be my situation. My mom actually had me at 40 years old, and I'm her only child, and she is now 81. And over the last 2 years, there have been an array of health conditions that have started to occur for my mom. The first one was 2 years ago, was the consequences of just her aging, is her memory declining, and just having like gaps in her memory more frequently than ever before, of course. So this is something that we're dealing with. There has not been any diagnosis in terms of like Alzheimer's or dementia. The doctors have just said that this is a circumstance of being 81. And more recently, over the last year, my mom has started complaining of severe lumbar, lower back pain and hip pain. And just in the last couple of weeks, there were some tests done, and it turns out that my mom has severe scoliosis, and 5 of her discs in between the vertebrae are herniated, aside from like a slew of other effects from the causes of having the herniated discs. Basically, it is incredibly painful for her most of the time to walk, or even when she's stationary. So there's of course been a domino effect, because over the last couple years she has been very stationary, and it has caused her to also isolate herself more. That in combination with the memory loss, she doesn't really, my mom used to be somebody who was always speaking with many people, because my mother is a highly intuitive brujita. She has extrasensory perception. She always has since she was a child, and she has always really loved helping people with her intuition. And so she has always been present for many people of many ages in different parts of the world, as a personal consultant, and just like a figure of guidance and comfort and support, spiritual support. And so over the last year especially, she has really stopped communicating with many people, answering phone calls, messages. And so of course many people have reached out to me asking, what's going on with my mom. So it's a sensitive subject, of course, but it's just that people are concerned about her, and so it's understandable. I think also, they're missing their person that they confided in for many years. But I also think that it's natural for my mom to kind of take a step back from all of that at this point and dedicate her energy more to her well-being and to her peace. And so that's kind of the main gist of what's going on. And I originally came this time to visit Cali. I am lucky enough that I can come twice a year and usually spend a couple of weeks to 1 month here, usually around May for her birthday, and then during the holidays like now. So I've been doing that for the past couple of years, and this trip I had originally planned to be here until the end of December, so for a month and a half, but I have now extended this trip to 3 months, because I have chosen to support my mom during this difficult time. And it's also just challenging because she doesn't really she's not great at following instructions or directions, listening to other people who only have her her best interest in mind. She says yes, I'll do it, ya voy, or etc. But then the follow-through really isn't there. And although I cannot force her to do anything that she really doesn't want to do, of course there's a different dynamic, because I'm her child, her daughter, her only one. and I can insist in ways that other people don't feel comfortable, insisting in those ways. So um, the main focus at this point is because my mom has been so sedentary over the last couple of years. She's also gained a lot of weight in combination with she orders foods that are like she orders like breads that are stuffed with arequipe, which is like caramel dulce de leche type thing, instead of eating the balanced meals that are provided for her and things like that. But then she doesn't remember the next day that she did that, or at least that's what she says. So with my presence here, I can really support her in helping her to make these changes and to slowly start incorporating physical therapy. And so I'm just incredibly grateful that I can be here, that my work allows me to work remotely and to be here for her at this time. So yeah, that's what this video is mostly about. Just going to share a bit more about the situation and also of my first 2 weeks here in Cali, share a little bit about Cali with you. And if you'd like this kind of content, aside from also intentional travel related content, living close to nature, more kind of like crunchy granola and spiritual topics, that's what my channel is about. And I will be sharing more content in the next coming weeks about my time here in Colombia. So sharing a little bit more about Cali with you guys and more of like the funner aspects of being here in Cali. So yeah, if you're interested and if you vibe, please subscribe, like the video, leave a comment. It's always appreciated. And now let's get to more of the video. Today was a day. I'm here at my mom's place. It's a beautiful home on the outskirts of Cali. And it's nice because it's a lot of nature, so it's really nice and tranquil. Her little house is right behind me, and it's 3 apartments. So it's nice because it doesn't feel, she was in a different home before that was in town, and it kind of had more of like a hospital vibe, even though it was a really good place. But here she feels more, just like calm, and like she has her own little mini studio. But of course they bring her her meals, they wash her clothes, they take care of, her medications. So yeah, she's been here about 9 months now, going on 9 months. And I hope that she chills here. My mom has always been somebody who literally gets an itch to move every like 18 months, every year and a half. Like 2 years for her in one place is a lot, so she gets like bored kind of quickly, and at this age that's difficult to deal with. The last couple of years have been a struggle with that. So we spoke with a neurosurgeon today, but my mom is 81, and she's also unfortunately on the overweight side. She is blessed, and we are lucky that she doesn't have diabetes, high blood pressure, or any other illnesses. My mom doesn't take any other, let's say, serious medications, but the doctors still are, hesitant to perform a really serious surgery on her at this point. And so the doctor recommended a plan B, which entails focusing on her losing weight, and prescribing a medication that essentially, the way the doctor mentioned it, is that it forms like a protective coating around her spine that will really lessen her pain, which is, my mom's pain is next level. Just to walk is really painful for her. And I feel bad because I kind of assumed over the last 2 years that she was experiencing more of a sciatica situation, and that just by like doing some exercises and walking that this, and definitely also was losing weight. But it turns out that it's much more serious than that. But we didn't know until now. So yes, my month and a half trip is going to extend to 3 months here in Cali, because if I go back to Costa Rica, let's say at the end of December, I know that my mom, unfortunately, she's not very motivated to stay on track with, let's say, things like physical therapy, her diet. Partially it's due to her memory loss, but then it's also just lack of motivation, and that's related to her pain, of course. And everything is linked, and it's a domino effect, one thing to the other. So I'm just grateful that I can work remotely and stay here and be here to support her when, in this time when she really needs me. So just taking deep breaths through the situation and dealing with other difficult moments of having, my mom who's getting older. So it's part of life. It's something that nobody really talks about, though, or prepares you for. So that's an update. Okay. Ready to go to my first yoga class at the gym here. They only have it Tuesday afternoons, the yoga class. But also, the plan is to slowly start doing some weight training. I have some ideas, like I have looked into weight training, and I have dabbled in weight training here and there throughout my life, but I struggle with discipline with exercise. It's been a thing always in my life, but now that I'm 40, and also with my mom's health situation, it's just really, really apparent that you gotta move your body. If you don't move it, you lose it, and it's really just it's non-negotiable. So I am making the concerted effort to be more disciplined about it. I'm not, it's not yes, I am kind of a bump on the log most of the time, if I'm being really honest. I can really do nothing and be okay with that most days. So that's why I think it's a challenge for me to motivate and move. So it's definitely a big reason why I signed up for the gym for the 3 months that I'm here, and also because I feel like it will really be a good outlet for helping to regulate my nervous system and releasing stress, and just having somewhere to be like, Mom, okay, I'm gonna go to the gym, and so yeah, we'll see how today goes. It's a nice gym, it's a newer gym, and it's a 20-minute walk away, so I'm gonna get going. This is down the block from my place. A really cute little restaurant, Cafe Gardenia. They have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They have bowls and a bakery. Here is the gelato spot I went to the other day for the vegan gelato, the best vegan gelato. This neighborhood is called Granada. See a little bit, that's the street. Then there's a great 24-hour pharmacy right here, Farmatodo. And down this street, there are a bunch of bars and restaurants. been here now in Cali for 2 weeks with my mommy, and man, this last weekend, these last couple of days have been really challenging, and I want to be really honest with you guys, about how hard this really is for me and for her and for our family and her close friends. Since I started noticing 2 years ago these changes in her memory, and it was very sudden, her having these gaps in her memory of like her short-term memory, and like repeating questions, and I didn't know how to handle it when I noticed it, because I didn't know if I should tell her what I was observing, what was going on. I didn't know the best course of action. And when we took her to a doctor at that time, and doctor did some like basic memory retention tests, and some activities, and her conclusion was that my mother had normal memory loss, if you will, for an 80-year-old at that time, well, 79-year-old at that time. Her initial reaction was, of course, denial. And when I left 2 years ago in January, she had some experiences that made her realize what was actually going on with her memory. And since that time, I'm not a doctor to diagnose this, but she's definitely fallen into what I would assume is a bit of depression. And I think that's kind of a normal reaction to having the reality of the fact that you are approaching, memory loss, and also in conjunction with the loss of a lot of her mobility, with her back pain and some other issues that she's experiencing. And it's just because my mom has always been very sharp. And as I mentioned before, I think this is also what has caused her to begin to isolate herself from friends and family, and just kind of generally lose a motivation to live life, if you will. And it's been really hard for me to see her going through that. Also to basically have lost, in a way, my best friend that I've always confided in and relied on for guidance and support and advice. And over the last couple of years, when I share things that are happening with her in my life, or things that are going on, and then the next time we talk, she doesn't remember what my job is, or where I live, or even that she came to visit me in Costa Rica. And my first week here, I noticed it was different. There was like some improvement in terms of like, I felt like she was more alert. And when I asked her to, I want to say pressure, but I do encourage her to use her mind, instead of just answering all of the repetitive questions. Sometimes I'm like, you tell me, mommy, like, we've discussed this, we've talked about it. And my first week and a half here, I felt like there was improvement. She was responding more quickly, but this last weekend, wow, it was different these last couple of days. And she was just really, repeating the same questions over and over again, things that we would discuss and talk about, in terms of, she asked me a lot of like, how much does she pay at her living facility, at the home that she's at? What is her social security income? And I would bring her here for the weekend at the Airbnb, just to kind of get her out of her, to just switch it up for her, and to come to a more central part of town so that we can more easily see friends and family, and go to doctor's appointments, and just repeating questions and asking me the same things over and over again. And we spent almost all of Saturday. I spoke to her almost the whole morning into the afternoon. I made lunch, and she literally asked me to tell her who her friends were over the last 30, 40 years. And, as much as I could help her with that and remember, the people who were closest to her, and I did my best to just share that with her and talk to her about, each person that she has or had close relationships with, and it was just really difficult to see her in this state of being like, oh yeah, wow, that's right, and like, I don't remember that person, and so I think that now that I've extended my trip here a couple more months, I think we're gonna have to go back to the doctor, receive a second opinion. My grandpa had Alzheimer's. He had Alzheimer's for a number of years before he passed away. He passed away like almost in his mid-90s, but he was mentally absent for many years before that. My mother's older sister has had now Alzheimer's for 10 years. So it's definitely something that runs in the family. And if I'm being honest, I think I have also been scared of her receiving like an official diagnosis that would make it more real. And then because I don't live here, and generally I come for a couple of weeks or a month, like I didn't want to like have her receive this life-altering, really difficult diagnosis and then me just have to leave all of a sudden and just leave her here to deal with it all alone. And I'm still scared, about the reality and what that means for my mom and what that means for us and our relationship and what the future will bring. But of course, being able to receive the diagnosis, there are some options for some treatment. There's a patch that my aunt uses that my cousins were telling me, they think that it's definitely helped curb a decline, as she's already had Alzheimer's for 10 years. But it's just, yeah, there's a lot, and my mom wants to sleep most of the day, and it's already been a couple of years, that the doctors and everybody's like, okay, well, you need to do mental activities and different kinds of activities and some painting and some word searches and some things like Sudoku and puzzles and things. And so we tried, we bought her a nice puzzle, and I tried to do that with her, and she gave up so quickly. I mean, not even 20 minutes in, and when I tried to encourage her for us to do it again and try again and give her some hints and help her, she really wasn't into it, wasn't up for it. I've gotten her some different activities booklets that have all kinds of word searches and things like that. And I bought those for her in May. I left them, at her little side table right next to her recliner where she sits most of the day. And, when I speak with her on the phone, I ask her, are you doing your activities? And she would say, yes, I'm doing them. I almost finished the books, this. And then come to find out now when I, was going through her things and cleaning and sorting some of her things, she hadn't even opened any of those activity books since I left in May. And I think what's really been the hardest for me is to just see her lose just that spark, that wanting to be positive. My mom has always been such a positive person and encouraging everybody. She has literally preached her whole life about how our thoughts and our frequency, our energy, how we choose to see life and approach life and be positive, how much that actually can change our lives for the better. And it's just so crazy to see her fall into this, I don't even know what to call it. I don't want to call it a pit of despair, but to a certain extent, that's what it feels like. It feels like she's just kind of giving up. And I think that's the hardest thing for me to see. And then what happens in this, I'm going to be really honest. What happens is that I know that I get mad at her. I get mad at her for not putting in the effort, for giving up. And it's something I've been very, very conscious of, and I've been doing my best to stay in a place of compassion and empathy and understanding. But sometimes it's really hard. It's really hard, and I think it's only gonna get harder if I'm being honest with myself. And I feel like I need more support, which I will, I'm going to look for. And then I get really mad at myself for allowing myself to get upset and to speak with her in a certain tone when she doesn't deserve that. She doesn't deserve me being mad at her for something that she has no control over. And she's always been so supportive of me my whole life. My mother, I honestly am so blessed. I'm so blessed with my mom. My mom has always stood by my side and has always supported all of my crazy harebrained ideas and plans and adventures without ever judging or criticizing me, barely ever putting any pressure on me. So I feel so guilty about not being nicer to her. I definitely improved. I do think that I've improved, and I knew coming here now that this was going to be, continue being a large part of the challenge, and that things were going to look different now as her health has declined. And that I'm going to be here for a longer period of time. And so me signing up for the gym, has been one of the ways that I'm trying to support myself so that I have an outlet, to let some of this stress and emotions and anger out. Renting this Airbnb that's a little bit far away also, so that I have my space that I can come to during the week at night, and a place to decompress and to feel like I have somewhat of a home base here, and some time alone. Really important for me is to have some solitude. And then also that makes me feel guilty because my mom is like, well, why do you have to leave? Why? And then I can't really tell her, well, mommy, I need some time away from you, because she gets sad if I can't tell her that. And taking walks and eating balanced meals, purchasing the organic produce that I found here now, and cooking for myself at home. That's another big way that I am really trying to stay grounded and balanced, with some routines that really help to support me physically. I've definitely reached out to my friends who have been so supportive and who I'm so grateful to have in my life, even though they're going through their own things. My bestie is actually literally giving birth right now as I'm filming this to her second baby. But we do have some close family friends and family here that I do also feel supported by. So I'm not all alone, thankfully. Not to mention my partner is very supportive as well, even though he's in Costa Rica. But yeah, man, it's hard. It's hard. It's definitely. I think that I have to say also another something that I wanted to mention is that I'm really glad that I don't have kids. That's something that I'm saving for another video. I turned 40 this year, as you guys know already. I mentioned in the video, and my partner and I discussed it and decided that we're not choosing to have children. And with everything that's unfolding with my mom at this time, I genuinely could not imagine having to balance life, right? Work and well-being and my partnership, my relationship and friendships and my spiritual life with the reality of, being more present as a caretaker in my mother's life, and then also having to take care of a child. I honestly cannot wrap my brain around what that would look like. So, and well, I don't have to because that's not my reality, but I know that's a reality for so many of you. And I just, I want to say that my hat's off, me quito el sombrero to anyone who's going through, dealing with an aging parent while also raising a family and dealing with everything else, yeah. That's the real deal of, what's going on with me right now and the reality of this situation. So I'm just going to continue day by day doing the best that I can, and each moment bringing the awareness of answering my mom with empathy, with compassion, with empathy as she repeats questions, and doing my best to just be present with her and appreciate the moments that we do have together without being upset at her and overreacting and yeah, just doing my best to enjoy the time we have together, to be here to support her the best way that I can, and to be just I'm just so grateful that I can be here, that financially we're in a position because of my mother's income that she worked so hard for to get, to have a decent social security pension, that we can be okay here in Colombia. It wouldn't be the case in the United States. Had my mom decided to stay in the United States, things would look very, very different. But here we're okay. Here in Colombia, things are good. Quality of life is good. She's in a comfortable place. It's beautiful, surrounded by nature. We have, the family support and close family friend support here. And right now I have a remote job that allows me to be here and work from here and without any issues. And so just give thanks for the silver linings and take each moment, to be present and just one day at a time. And I think that's the best I can do right now. So I'm sending so much love to all of you who are watching this, just for tuning in, and extra love to anyone who this really resonates with, because maybe you're going through a similar situation. Yeah, these are the things in life, that I don't think anybody can prepare you for. And to any of you who may be going through similar situations, I see you. Take each day, as it comes, and do your best in that moment, and just, try to appreciate the present and each day, because it really is a gift. And not just, perhaps with your aging parent or your young child or your difficult teenager or partner, but in your life, it's just, we never know what happens. We never know what life has in store for us. And so I hope that you get a chance today to stop, smell a flower, listen to a bird sing, look at the sky,
enjoy a moment, you know, with a close loved one, a dear one, whomever that may be, or, you know, however you can connect to a moment of presence and joy and appreciation for life. I hope that you get to do that today, tomorrow, every day. Once again, thank you for being here. My name is Natalia. If this resonated with you, or if you've made it this far in the video, I would appreciate a like. If you vibe, subscribe.